Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. This is our third public meeting for the week. Where we're going to be going over the upcoming changes starting August 31st. So I'm just going to give it a couple minutes, wait for a couple more people to join in. And then once we have a couple more people, I'm gonna introduce the team and just kind of give an overview of how this is gonna work. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. So my name is Clem Neely. I am the mobility marketing coordinator here at MetroLink, and I have a few of our team members here on the call. So joining me to this morning is Brianna McCutcheon. She is the marketing manager at MetroLink. Also, we have Rebecca Wallner, who is the um, CFO at MetroLink. We also have Naja Jeffries, who is the director of operations. And then we also have Casey Graves, who will be conducting the presentation today. And she is um, the planning manager. Um, so I will, well, so the way we're gonna do it is that Casey's gonna she's gonna do the presentation, and at any point during the presentation you have two options. You can either put a question in the Q&A tab, and we can answer your question directly, or you can put it in the chat, and um, either way, we'll once she's done with the presentation, we'll address all of the questions related to the presentation um, after she's done. So at any moment in time, if you have a question about anything that she said, you can just go ahead and put it in the chat or just do a Q&A, whatever works for you. And we're gonna cut off at 8, but if we do have time, we can address any other questions, maybe not related to the um, presentation, any kind of general questions or concerns that you might have. And if we have time between now and 8 o'clock, then we'll address those. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Casey and she'll do her presentation.
Thank you, Clem. Good morning, and thanks for joining us this morning. And I'm going to just go ahead and dive right into the presentation so we can get things started. And are we good on the screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So today we're going to be discussing the August 2025 service enhancements. That'll be coming August 31st is when they go live. So a little bit about the process and how we got here. In May of this year, we started looking at ways that we could make some improvements and enhancements to some issues that we have been seeing. And so we worked on those as a team to kind of gather what we were looking at. We went out for a public feedback survey June 9th through the 18th. We got quite a few responses to that, just asking general questions about the areas that we were looking at and getting some input and feedback on those. We did that internal and external. Then June 23rd to July 7th, we evaluated that feedback and determined what our final decisions were going to be. And now we started public meetings this week. This is our third one. And that is where we are presenting the changes that we had come up with for the August changes. So this time we ended up with 3 of our fixed routes that we will be making adjustments to, and then some changes with one of the microlink zones. So that's going to be the Lewis Route 410, the West Tulsa 71st Street Route 490, the Crosstown Route, which is the 250, and Zone 7 in the microlink, which is the East Route. So we'll start with the 410 Lewis. The changes for this route this time, each slide I will have some verbiage that will go over what the change is, why, how we got there, any frequency changes, and then I'll have a map to kind of further explain what those changes look like. So on the north end of the Lewis route, we have extended the service over to the OU Tisdale Clinic, and on the south end, we're servicing Lewis further south of 71st to all the way down to 91st. So the reason supporting this change was to improve the service area, to get service down to some places further south on Lewis that we didn't have service yet, and allow connectivity to the 700, the 110, and the 320 on the north end. We provide service on the south end to cover Lewis south of 71st Street to 91st and Riverside. And the current frequency is 55 minutes, and the new frequency will be 60 because we did add geography to the route. And this is a look at what those changes actually look like compared to what we do today. So the little red insert on the map shows the current path that the bus travels, and then the blue map on the big one is the change that will start on August 31st. So on the south end, we would provide service between 81st and 91st in Lewis, and on Riverside between 91st and 81st. So the bus will continue south on Lewis past 81st, where right now it currently turns on 81st. It will continue south, go down by Andy B's, and service all of Lewis down to 91st, where it'll come back up Riverside to 81st, and then continue back north on Lewis. So it will not actually pull up to the BRT subhub, but there will still be service to the subhub and to the Aero station there. It'll just be at the stop that's across the street from the station. And then on the north end, instead of ending at 41st and Columbia, the bus will continue back around west on 36th Street North over to the OU Tisdale Clinic. So then this is going to offer connectivity at Peoria to the BRT or at the Tisdale to the 320. And then on the far right, you can see the current route of the 410 today, how it does the subhub at 81st and then Wheeling. So that will be changing, but the BRT will still travel Wheeling, so all access will still be there for that. The 490 West Tulsa 71st route is going to be rerouted to keep the route straight east on 71st Street and west when it comes the other direction between Riverside and Lewis. The reason supporting this change is it's a more direct service. It improves the frequency and makes this route more reliable. Sometimes it was struggling with on-time performance and being reliable and dependable, so this will help accommodate that. It will still allow connections to the BRT, to the Route 500, so you're still going to have the connectivity that you have at the sub-hub. It will just occur at the BRT station on Quincy, and the frequency went from 55 minutes to 45 minutes. So the top map is currently what we do. It shows the path. We turn south on Riverside down to 81st and then over in front of the sub-hub and then back up Lewis and out 71st Street because we are now going to continue straight on 71st Street. You will make the connection to the BRT at the Quincy BRT station on 71st Street. And so you will still be able to access the 500 and the 700. Also, the change that we just discussed with Lewis will now cover this part of Lewis between 81st and 71st that comes out with the 490 removal in that area. The 410 will still provide service in that area. So that will still be accessible by the bus. We also added some stops on 71st Street because it didn't used to travel there between Riverside and Lewis on 71st. So we have added stops in there as well. So now that those businesses in that area you can access those from the 71st Street bus as well. Route 250 Crosstown. So the change with this route is it'll be ending at the TCC Southeast Campus Shelter. It currently services, therefore removing fixed route service to St. Francis South. The rationale for this change was we have very, very low ridership over to St. Francis South. So we wanted to try to make the crosstown more direct experience. It was created and intended to be a quick way to move from one side of the city to the other to be able to connect to the routes that you're needing. So we'll be able to utilize the highway a little more to save time. And the MicroLink service covers St. Francis South. So they're still going to have access and service to St. Francis South. It's just a different type of service. The current frequency is 40 minutes on the crosstown, and the new frequency will be 35. And then here's a close-up view of what this does. This change, everybody was a little concerned, thinking that we were going to stop servicing TCC and the VA with St. Francis South coming out, but I assure you that is not the case. It's just revamping the route a little bit. So still service the VA hospital, TCC. We just take the highway back up to 81st instead of going over to St. Francis South to turn around and come back. So when it is coming eastbound, TCC will be the end of the line. So it will stop at the TCC shelter. And then when the westbound route resumes, it will continue south down 101st past the VA, servicing all of those medical centers in the VA hospital there before it gets on the highway back to 81st to start the inbound trip. And then our MicroLink zone. So zone 7 is the zone that is in the east and southeast, and it covers the Midtown station and then out to the health department. That's at 51st and 129th. So we have decided to add that route at night and on Sunday to better service the area. And there's been a high demand for service in this area because they could ride during the day, and then in the evening hours, it was making it kind of challenging for some people to get back to the original destination. So we're super excited to add this zone to our night and Sunday service, and are looking forward to seeing how that helps improve people with their last miles and trips home in the evening time. So those are the changes and enhancements that we have looked at for August 31st. And now we can take some questions if anybody has any questions about these changes. It looks like Tiffany raised her hand, Clem.
Yes, Tiffany, you can go ahead
And
and
I,
ask your question. Yeah.
okay, thank you. I was trying to figure out how to do the chat. So for the 490, is it not going to service St. Francis? I got here late, so I apologize.
Oh no, it'll
The main
still service St.
hospital.
Francis.
Oh, okay, so we'll turn in there and go. Okay, I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's only going to be just 71st, and I have to get off and walk all the way there.
Oh no,
Oh,
we did not change any part of the route at St. Francis. It will service that still on both directions each trip. Absolutely.
oh, okay, perfect. I was worried about that. And then you said that the 700 would connect, I guess, at is it 71st and Lewis? I guess there's a bus stop by McDonald's. I guess they'll go there.
Yes, it's actually I believe 71st and Quincy. But
Quincy.
yes, it is by the McDonald's, and then the one on the other side of the street is down a little ways from the Quick Trip at the mattress store.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yep.
that's helpful. I'm just trying to figure out how. And then also, what times is going to start in the morning?
What time is the 490 going to start?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Give me just a moment because I don't. It should be around the same as what it already was. But which direction? Do you know? Have a
Going
specific
east,
direction? Going
eastbound to like
eastbound?
St. Francis. Yeah.
Okay. The first AM 490 eastbound starts at 6:30.
Okay, 6:30. So okay, so then if it's at Quincy, is that 6:30 is where it's gonna be?
71st and Quincy is 6:40.
Okay, perfect. I just want to
Yep.
make sure I time the 700 because I usually take the first bus to get to work. So I was just kind
Gotcha.
of anxious about that. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
And just to let you guys know, for anyone that might have came in a little late, this whole presentation is going to be recorded and it's going to be on our YouTube page, and we'll link it on our website as well. So if you missed anything, you can always go back um, and look at the presentation. So at this moment, we're taking more questions. You can go in the chat and ask your question, or uh, pop up in the Q&A if you would like. We'll give it a couple more minutes if anyone else has any questions.
Maybe I talked too fast.
So Casey, we do have a question in the chat from Sandra.
Okay.
Yeah, she said, "Is there going to be bus service to the gathering place?"
So there's not a fixed route bus that services the gathering place, but it is serviced by the microtransit service. So the gathering place is what we call a point of interest on zone 6. So you are able to book from zone 6 over to the gathering place. Yes. And that's currently available today and will be after August 31st as well. Mhm. Okay. Looks like Sandra has a question about she currently uses our Link Assist service. How does she book a ride through micro service? So I will let Clem address that question.
Yeah, so the Link Assist service or the Lyft service, it's they're both the same thing. Link Assist is the new name. So yeah, I'm assuming that you use the Link Assist service via the call center. So it works the same way. There's two methods to book either service. If you are someone that uses the call center, it works the exact same way. The difference between Link Assist and Micro is with Link Assist, you can book your rides up to 3 days in advance. So it's not much of an on-demand service because you're not going to be able to get a ride within the same day. Whereas the micro service, you it's actually an hour service, so you can only book up to an hour in advance. You can't book anytime beyond an hour. So it's like for example, it's 7:24 now. If I needed a ride, I could only get a ride between 7:24 and 8:24. So when you if you're calling the call center, you just the only difference is you just let them know I want to book a Lyft ride versus I want to book a micro ride. And if you're already a Lyft user, they're already gonna have your information. So it's very easy. And if you are wanting to use the GoPass app, which Brianna, she just dropped a link to that tutorial. Again, it's the same process when you want to book your ride. You're pretty much gonna plan your trip as if you're gonna go from one destination to the next. Um, the difference again with Link Assist is number one, Link Assist will only show up as an option if you are already an eligible user and your account is already registered as an eligible Link Assist user. Um, versus Micro is available to everybody. But the difference is with Micro, you're only gonna see a Micro option pop up if you are in one of the zones, and then it has to be during a time where the zone is open. Otherwise, you're gonna search for it and nothing's gonna pop up, or at least no micro options are gonna pop up. So those are the pretty much the main differences. But in terms of booking, the process of booking both is the exact same. Like I said, if you're gonna use a call center, you just let them know I want to book a micro ride versus I want to book a Link Assist ride. If you're going to use the app, it's the same thing. The difference is whether or not you're eligible for Link Assist, and for micro, it's whether or not you're in the zone and whether or not you're in the zone time frame. Is going to determine whether you're going to see options for it or not. So hopefully that answers your questions. And I also just want to say that if anyone has any questions not related to the presentation, you can feel free to go ahead and ask. We're here. I'll have the call open until 8. Um, so any other questions you guys have, just let us know. You can drop it in the chat.
Like Stacy has raised her hand.
Hi, Stacey. You can go ahead and unmute and ask your question. Okay, we got another question in the chat. Sandra asked, are there any discussions on making the bus stop more comfortable weather-wise? Some have glaring sun and not enough shade. Casey, if you want to address that.
Of course, absolutely. That's a challenge that we face in transit with our bus stop system, and being outside in the weather in Oklahoma, we know isn't always fun, but we are limited on funds and what we can put out on the street. We try to accommodate with shelters and benches as much as we can, but we do have a policy on when and where and how many we can have out there, obviously for budget purposes. So depending on the ridership at specific routes is what helps them qualify for a bench or a shelter. But unfortunately, we just don't have the funding to put those at every stop throughout the city. So definitely understand the challenge though. And Stacy, if you wanted to enter your question in the chat or the Q&A, because I never heard a question come through, but if you still had a question, we'd be happy to answer it. If you want to put that in the chat or the Q&A, we'd be happy to answer for you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Is this Stacy?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I couldn't find the chat.
That's
I tried
okay.
to I tried to chat it, but it would go away. I just had a question about where they're not using the ADA anymore to apply on your disability card.
Yes.
Okay, so you go on the Tulsa Transit or microlink.org to apply now, correct?
Yes. So www.metrolinkok.org. That if you navigate, actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and share my screen so I can show you exactly where it is. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to oops, MET metrolinkok.org. So when you get on the website, this is the first page that's gonna pop up. So here's what you do. You scroll down a little bit, and then what you're going to look for is you're going to look for link assist. So this is where you'll find all the information about the paratransit program if you want to read more about it, kind of get some more information about who's eligible. But in terms of the application, when you're ready to do your application, you have on the website, you have two options. You can either scroll down here where it says application download. So this is what you would do if you wanted to print out the application, the physical application, and either you would want to mail it to us or you can drop it to the one of the station attendants at either of our two stations and they'll get it to our team. So you can print this out and you can physically fill it out with a pen or pencil. Um, or if you wanted to an even quicker option, and honestly, the option that I would recommend is there is um, a digital version of the application, and you would come right here where you see application, and then you would click here. So this version allows you to fill it out virtually or digitally, and it's much faster. It's, once you submit it, it's gonna go to us automatically. You don't have to wait, on a courier or anything like that. And there's really no other variables. Once you fill it out, it's gonna go automatically to us. So you pretty much just, to start off, you just, let us know if you're going to be recertifying, if you're already certified and you just want to renew it, or if it's a new application. Um, and then you just fill in your, personal data, your name, date of birth, age, just, formal stuff, address and everything, things that we would need to know. And
Okay,
just kind of,
so you could recertify or do it all over again?
uh well, I mean, if you're doing it for the first time, then it would be new. But if you are already an active user, you're gonna want to recertify.
You would go do the whole thing. Okay, so if for
Mhm,
recertifying, um,
mhm,
if you're already a card user, then
mhm.
you would still have to fill out the application there on there.
Yes. So if you are recertifying and you are still, if your application is not, well, if your if your card is not expired as yet, all you have to do is just fill out this form, and the form is really not long. I mean, after this page, I think there's just uh two, three, just three more pages. So you just have to fill out the application, and it's pretty much just letting us know that you want to recertify, and that's it.
Oh,
That's all you have to
so
do. And once you're active and not expired, that's all you need to do. However, if you are either a new applicant or if you're an active applicant but you're expired and you're outside of your 30-day grace period, then we're gonna need a new assessment from your doctor. So,
yes, that's
yes.
what I was going to say.
Mhm,
For new users that you
mhm.
have to have your doctor to fill it out also, A-
Yes.
and and they could do that in their doctor office on their computer where you're at on there also, and with their signature,
Hmm.
and you give them your information to sign up for that. They will do that in their doctor office for
Yeah.
you to
So,
sign.
hit,
Or
I mean, hit.
you could
Go
fill,
ahead.
you could print out the paper and take it to your doctor, and then take it to the Denver or the Denver bus station and give it to the clerk there.
Yeah.
Correct?
Well, yeah. Well, let me just clarify one thing. So the assessment, it's filled. So let me kind of walk you through this. So this is the last page of the application. So if you're a new applicant or if you're recertifying and you're already expired, um, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna provide your healthcare provider's email address, and we're gonna send the form directly to them. So whatever email address you put here, it's gonna automatically send the form along with an explanation of how it works and everything. So they're gonna fill it out on their end, and when they submit it, it's gonna come directly to us. Now, if for whatever reason, I mean, and it happens, maybe your doctor doesn't allow, external emails for security reasons, and that's understandable. Maybe you do need to take a physical version of it to them. That's fine, but you have to understand that just, due to HIPAA regulations, they have to be the ones to send it directly to us. So we're not gonna allow the doctor to fill it out and then give it to you to give back to us, because then we don't know what can happen in between now and then. You could forge information.
Oh,
So
I
the yeah
see.
so we just need direct communication from your healthcare provider. They can if they have a physical copy of it, they can mail it to us. They can fax it
Oh,
to
okay.
us, or if they got this version of it, then it's a digital version, so it'll come directly to us. But there has to be direct contact between us and your healthcare provider for the assessment part of it. Now, for this part of it, the application that you fill out, that's however you want to get it to us is fine. But just with the assessment part of it, it has to come directly from your doctor in some form. And if let's say even if it's mailed, we still might not be sure if it came from them. We would have to call them just to verify. Just that part of it is kind of, we have some regulations with it. But outside of that, like I said, if you're already active and you're not expired, you don't have to do all that. But if you're a new user, you just have to make sure. And the best thing to do is, even when you put their information in, the best thing to do is to call them, because a lot of times, um, doctors may not be expecting it, or they might look at it and think that it's spam, or maybe it would just go straight to their spam folder. So just give them a call and let them know to be on the lookout for it. So that's my best recommendation of how to go about that. Yep. And I think she left the call. Hopefully that answered her question. Um, we have about 18 more minutes here. So anyone that has a question, it could be related to the changes or related to any general information that you want to know, you can go ahead and drop it in the chat or the Q&A.
Hi, Susan. I see you are, you just came in, and I just was going to let you know we can answer any questions that you might have about any of the service enhancements that are coming up in August, or any questions in general, or to the open question section. Okay, looks like Susan has a question.
Okay, so Susan just asked the question, can you make appointments ahead of time on the phone for Metrolink Van? My internet is spotty. So, if you are referring to the microlink, which I think you are, the microlink can only be booked an hour in advance because it's an on-demand service. So we keep that hour threshold just to make sure that people aren't taking advantage of it. So if you are wanting to use microlink, if you want to call the call center, they'll only be able to book you a ride within that hour. You wouldn't be able to book beyond that. However, if you are eligible for the Link Assist program, which is our paratransit program, specifically catered to anyone with a disability that makes it hard to use the regular fixed route. If you do qualify for that and you apply and you get approved, then you can make appointments or you can schedule rides up to 3 days in advance. So that's um, kind of the difference between the two. Um, and the another question from Sandra, will the new service center answer calls from people on the bus stop? Um, I I don't think we have a new service center. If you're referring to the call center, yeah, the call center will if you call them and you're at a bus stop and you want to know when the next bus stop will arrive, they have a way of tracking the buses and they'll let you know exactly when to expect the next bus. And you can also do that on our GoPass app as well. And then we have another question from Susan. What type of disability qualify you for Link Assist? So it's not really broken down by the type of disability. You can have any type of disability, but the um, I would say if your doctor, because when you apply for it, you have to have your healthcare provider fill out an assessment. So it doesn't you can have pretty much any type of disability, but once your doctor fills out that assessment and that assessment kind of gives proof or evidence that your disability hinders you from being able to use the regular fixed route buses, that qualifies you for the Link Assist program. So, I mean, if as of right now, we have people with a wide range of disabilities that are eligible for the program. So it's not broken down by type of disability. It's to what extent it prevents you from being able to use um, the fixed route service. And nothing is stopping you from applying. If you feel like your disability is eligible, then you are free to apply. And like I said, you have to go through the process of getting that assessment form filled out from your doctor. Um, and once your doctor determines that, once your doctor provides evidence that your specific disability prevents you from being able to use the fixed route bus, then our review team would be able to make that determination as to whether you're eligible or not. Okay, Casey. Susan said the fixed route bus doesn't come to your house anymore. Would you mind sharing just the general area of where your house is at? Maybe Casey can address um why the fixed route doesn't come there anymore, and we can talk about other options that you may have in that general area. You don't have to give your address. Just okay, 41st and 129th, Casey, if you wanna.
Okay. Yeah, so you are in the micro transit zone 7 because the fixed route does not come all the way east to 41st and 129th. So micro zone 7, which currently runs Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., would be your option for transit. And that is the one that we have now added to nights and Sundays. So that's going to give you even more options for travel. But yes, you would be in zone 7 microtransit southeast now. which is why Zone 7 was created during the daytime, to try to help with that last mile, first and last mile from the fixed route in that area, because we do have one on Garnett, and then that's a mile further to 129th East. So Zone 7 is there to provide that service. Nights and Sundays, will I have the telephone option if my internet isn't working? Yes, you can always, if you generally, when your internet's good and you book yourself, that's perfectly fine. And then if your internet is acting up and you want to call in and have the customer service book that for you, always an option, absolutely. So you would, as long as there's service, then they're here to take the calls and book the trips, absolutely. And then for Sandra, in my case, when I ride Link Assist, it was also assessed that since there are no sidewalks in my area, that I can be picked up at my house. Yes, Sandra, they make the determination on whether you're eligible for the Link Assist program based off of your ability to be able to access the fixed route system. So you are absolutely correct. Sometimes that can play into the decision as well for people to be certified for Link Assist. You are absolutely correct. Also, too, I wanted to take a minute, Susan, how you were saying that the fixed route doesn't come. The microtransit zone 7 can be used during the daytime to get you to the fixed route. So that was another enhancement from adding microtransit to daytime that we were looking to, is to bring people that are just outside that fixed route service area for that first and last mile to get them to the fixed route system, so then they have access to the entire system as well. So at night and on Sunday, you could use it to get to the other zones, or to the BRT, but then during the day, you can use a zone 7 from your residence to get to the fixed route service. Okay. What option is available if they keep missing you for the van to get home off a fixed route, for instance? Not sure. I apologize. I'm not sure I understand the question. What option is available if they keep missing you for the van to get home off a fixed route, for instance?
Could you clarify what do you mean by Vine? Are you talking about our microlink Vine, or are you talking about the big buses? What do you mean by Vine?
They've continued to say it was a miscommunication about if I'm sure I had the correct address for the micro van.
Okay, so I mean that I would say if there's a specific issue that you might be dealing with in terms of like whether you put the correct address or not, We can help you through that. We would need a little more information. But I would say this though, it is important that you do have the correct address because um the way our system works, it's very, very precise. Um, because the way it communicates with our drivers, it automatically goes to their system. So if you put an address in, that's the system, the software that we use is going to map out exactly the address that you put in. And then because it's a shared ride service, it has to stay on that track. So, and I'm not saying this is about your situation, but in the event that you may put an address that's not accurate, or maybe it's approximate to where you're at, you probably will find that the microlink van, you may not see it. Or another thing that could be happening is because there is a 2-minute window where the driver is allowed to wait for you. So when you're using microlink, when the driver pulls up, they're only allowed to wait for 2 minutes because, like I said, the system has a very efficient way of mapping the different routes that the drivers take to pick people up and drop people off. So if, and again, I'm not sure if this is happening with you, but if the driver is parking somewhere and they don't have visual contact with you within 2 minutes, then they are obligated to pull off and start the journey for the next person. Um, And if it's an issue with the address that you're putting in, if we're not going to the right address, then I would recommend that you give us a call so that we can ensure that we are going to the right address. And we have about 2 more minutes, so maybe we have time for uh one more question, perhaps. So Sandra asked the question, are there any new routes and where will they be able to access? So Casey, if you just want to maybe just give like a overview of I don't think there's any new routes, but there have been some adjustments to existing routes.
Absolutely. Yes, no, we didn't add any new routes. And even the micro zone change is just adding more hours of service to it by adding it during the day. Um, we have it during the day and then by adding it to nights and Sundays. But just did a little bit of rerouting and revamping on the 490, the 410, and the 250. And that will be in the presentation. That will be on the YouTube that he's going to repost, but and on the website as well. You can see those changes, but no new routes are scheduled for this service change.
Okay, so we're at 8 o'clock, so we're not going to take any more questions. Susan, I did see that you put one more question. Is the app with the zigzag M going to be working soon? Um, we only have one app that we use, and it's GoPass, and I don't think GoPass has any uh M in it. So the app that you're referring to it's possible that it could be an old app. Any app that we used in the past is at the moment, even if it is active, it's not something that we currently use. So GoPass, GOPASS, is the app that you're going to be able to book your microlink rides, your link assist rides. You're going to be able to track your bus. You can buy tickets. So everything that you will ever need to do on an app, it's going to be on the GoPass app. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. So thank you, Casey, and thank you for the team that was on, and thank you for everyone that asked questions. Like I said, we are going to be putting the entire presentation on our social media pages, so on our YouTube page and on our website. So if anything that you missed, or if you came in late, you'll be able to go back and look over the changes. So the changes are going to be taking place on August 31st, so about a week and a half from now. And if you have any questions about it, you can always call the call center, and they'll be able to answer any other questions that you might have. So uh hope you guys have a great day and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.